Hey guys, welcome to the Rob and Mariya Show. We have a special guest today, and her name is
Johann.
And Johann, what do you do here at CRI?
I am the new cell manager.
Wow, and what does that mean?
Well, it means that I manage the references managers here at CRI.
Wow.
So that they can help support other individuals that want to live independently in the community.
Oh, that's awesome. So you have a lot of power.
Well, power of one, maybe. We're a team. That's what I like. I like the team.
Well, awesome. Well, you are here not just to give an introduction of yourself and what you do, but you're also here to take part in a discussion we're going to do. And we did this, we sort of covered this issue a long time ago, but not really in depth. It's called unwanted help. And I think a lot of people, especially people in wheelchairs or people who are blind or some sort of visual impairment, they use a cane or whatever, have been in situations where they didn't want help, but the help was given to them anyway. Okay, I have kind of a funny story. Well, it's funny and it's not funny, but a long time ago, I used to live in Torio Towers. And you know that if you're familiar with the area, you know that St. Peter's Cathedral, it's like 2 blocks away. And I went to church there, and on sunny days, I would wheel there myself. And I'd go up this huge stone ramp in the back to go around the back entrance, which was accessible. Now, I didn't mind because I would pull on the railing, and it was good exercise for me. And one day, a guy comes up in back of me and he starts to push my chair. And I stopped. And I said, "Sir, I don't need your help." And he said, "Well, you look like you're struggling." I said, "Well, it's good exercise for me." He says, "Are you sure you don't need help?" And I said, "Yeah." And this went back and forth. Eventually he said, "Now, are you going to be stubborn with me?
Oh my God.
I'm in my 40s, I'm not a child, And I think, people will say, well, they're just trying to be helpful. And I get that, okay? But if you're going to help me anyway, why ask?
Right.
There's a lot of people, are you sure? And I call it hovering. Whether are you sure that, and sometimes, it looks like we're struggling, but that's okay. It's all right. Respect our right to do things the way we want to do them, like, I go into the laundry room and I'm pushing this cart that holds the water. And you've got to get the door open and push the cart in at the same time. And somebody will come in, here, let me get that for you. And I'll say, I don't need help. Well, I'm just trying to lighten the load. And if you say no, that means no. And I think it's great to have someone who's able-bodied here to give your thoughts. Because you probably at some point have been on the other end of this. And what do you think?
Well, I think people want to be helpful. Okay. And I think people also have a misconception that people who are in wheelchairs or may have other disabilities, such as a deaf person, maybe they look at you and talk really loud.
Yeah.
And it's that, it's that misconception. And I do believe that people want to be able to understand, but I always wait for somebody to say, I need your help, before I would just go ahead and do it. It would be no different than somebody coming up to me and I'm shopping and I'm getting in my car and they pull my keys out of it and get in my car and start it.
That's a great example.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to just understand that able-bodied people and disabled people, you have to respect boundaries of what that person requires for help, wants for help, and needs for help. There's 3 different, ways of looking at it.
It's about respect.
Yes, absolutely.
It really is. It's kind of like the old thing of somebody, they're tired and they lean up against my wheelchair. Well, that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, because
That's
the chair
part
is
of-
part of our
Yeah,
personal
yeah,
space. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
And-
told this one lady and she put my her coat on me and I lost it. I was like, excuse me, ma'am, I am not your table, I am not your coat rack. This is
Oh
my
my
chair.
God.
You do not need to put things, I will not hold your purse.
She put her coat on your
Yeah,
lap.
she's like, you know this for me?
Um,
Put it on your lap.
Oh,
And I'm very feisty when it comes to my independence. And
Absolutely.
I very like, don't touch me.
Well, that's-
You know what I mean? And
that's
when
fair.
they say, oh, well, you're being rude about it now, I'm like, how am I being rude if I, A, didn't ask you for help? B, you just saw me. I don't mind, like you said, when they like look at you. If you want to see me getting out of my car, it's fine. But don't come over here and see me get out of my car and take my wheel and stuff from me. And I'm like,
Right.
and then how do you not end up having an attitude about it?
Right.
You know, oh, they're just trying to help you. They don't understand. And you need to educate them. Like, it is 2023 if you haven't educated yourself on this.
Yeah, we have a long,
Some dudes.
yeah, we have a long way to go.
We've been around since like forever.
Exactly. And through history, people look at people with disabilities in a different light. They sometimes just feel like, you can't help themselves. And I think the more we show people, I like one of the things that we talked about is I would like to, really look at success stories and putting that out there to show people out in the community and their active lifestyle and what they belong to, to just give a different view
Right.
how people, can live their lives. And just like me or you or anyone else, everyone is different. Everyone has a story they tell.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you don't, emphasize the success stories.
No, we don't.
Or just look at, we come from the, I'm sorry. But we come from the, NDA days of the telethons, where
You're right.
Jerry Lewis would,
Yeah.
and he would
Crying
get a lot
and
of money,
singing
and he
yeah.
would, show the sympathy that you should have for people. That's the conception, that has been created in our society for years. And it's up to us, I won't say to educate, yes, you need to educate, we all need to educate how we want to be spoken to, treated, in a nutshell. But at the same time, we need to show the success stories of people who are able to work in the community and be contributing members of society and, be educated and, they can rule the world, and there's nothing that's going to stop them from living their best life. And we need to promote that.
Absolutely. I think that there's a problem, generally speaking, with the disability community in terms of assertiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Like people, and this goes across the board, not just this issue, but when somebody sort of forces their help on you, it's very tempting to just let it go. Because you don't want to confront confrontation, the attitude that the person's going to get, or well, whatever. You're seen as the villain, kind of, just because you're trying to educate people.
Sure.
Same thing with language. How are the able-bodied supposed to know what words to use when this person with a disability over here doesn't mind handicapped, and that one over there hates it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it's confusing.
Acceptable,
It really
what's
is. It's
acceptable.
confusing, yeah. But I think that, I'll get back to it. I mean, I think it's up to us to be forthright and say, look, if I need you, in the politest way possible, I guess, to say, look, if I need your help, I'll ask for it. Okay, not being a jerk or anything, because I think there are some people, not to be cynical, but I think there are some people who like to help. It makes them feel superior to us.
Or the person, like, oh, I'm interested help me out. Or, some type of religion.
Sure,
like, good
sure.
job for you,
Yeah,
help
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
out,
that's right. But the best, and the fun is in the struggle for us many times. Like for me, going up that ramp was good exercise. I don't get a lot of exercise in a chair. I've been in a chair over 42 years.
Wow.
And I'm limited to how much exercise I can get, so it's good. Yeah, that's right. But I will say that, I don't know how you think, Maria, but I would say that overall, the able-bodied population is getting better in this area, slowly.
Yeah,
Like, I would say 1%.
Right.
Yeah, it's moving at glacier
Right,
speed,
yeah.
but
I guess it's moving.
a little
We'll
bit,
take
yeah.
the movement,
Yeah.
but we should just be in a better
Place.
place.
Yeah.
All
I
these
agree.
years,
I agree.
just with the way people interpret things. One of the worst things that I used to get upset about, but then I understood maybe how they were saying it. But people would say, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I'd say, "Oh, I manage a group home or whatever." And they say, "Oh, you work with people with disabilities. They're so special."
Yeah.
That very, endearing, so special. And it's like, you must have such a big heart to do such a job.
So much
you know?
patience.
And I just, I would say thank you, but at the same time, I would follow it up with, well, you know what, the people I work with, they teach me so much, and I would start talking about my job and how inspired I was every day, and it wasn't me doing something special.
Right.
It was my clients being extraordinary
Yeah.
and doing things that, were way above and beyond anything I would do.
You should have just said, I'm in it for the money.
Right,
I don't
exactly.
care about
But that, we know that is true. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, there's that whole stereotype of how people view. And I do believe that they have the best intentions, let's put it that way. But, you just have to correct.
They
people.
mostly do have good
Right,
intentions.
right.
Not always. Sometimes it's a condescending,
Yeah.
patronizing
Yeah.
type.
What's the opposite of opposite?
Pessimism.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
I try not to. Like a couple of days, one day's better than the other. One day I have patience and it's scary. Other days I'm just like,
Sure, and after so many times, and maybe the seventh person that you walked by that day, got to you, and now you maybe snapped and you were.
and then I feel bad right after. Of
Sure,
course,
sure, but you just have to understand, other people have to understand that it's very frustrating, if you have to constantly, apologize for being independent.
Yeah. All I was trying to do was help.
Right.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
But like I said, it would be no different than somebody taking over, something that I do every day, like helping me out of my office, walking to my car, hovering over me.
Right. Well, my roommate, who is also one of my best friends and my personal care attendant, we've had many go-arounds about this, and now she's finally getting to the point where she just wants to help. But she's now getting to the point where she'll say, "Do you need help?" And I'll say no, and that's the end of it.
Right, yeah.
But it took a long time to get there.
Right.
And it took a long time. So
that's something you just don't really understand, and that's what's going.
yeah, but we all of us with disabilities have to do a better job being assertive, okay, even if you consider it tough love or whatever, and letting the person know that, hey, it's okay to struggle a little bit. It's okay to open the door and then push the cart in through the door, and if it takes me more time, so what?
But then the able-bodied people understand if they say it's
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
like anything
it.
else, they're using.
That's absolutely the thing.
So it goes both ways.
Again, respect personal space, it could go across the board, it doesn't.
And I think you bring up a good point, because when we're out there doing things that you don't normally see people with disabilities doing, it helps this with this issue, because it makes us look more independent and more, just like, that's why I love doing stand-up comedy, because you rarely see someone with a disability in the entertainment world. Very rarely. I mean, there's Marley Macklin, there's Alex Valdez, he's blind. Josh Blue. What a lady.
There's a musical, and there's a lady, Allison's.
Oh, John Callahan. Alex Valdez is blind, and he says he was the first person with a disability to enter into the world of entertainment. He came up with Robin Williams and other people when they were nobodies. And he likes to come up on stage and say, wow, what a great looking audience. He's blind. And again, it gets a big laugh. And not to go way off on a tangent here, but he said he could not believe, and I was astonished by this, the nasty comments he got from other comedians. And they would say, well, if I gouged my eyes out, I'd have some material too. And he said, well, go for it. Can you imagine being talked to like that? But when you're a trailblazer, you're the first to encounter the briar bushes. Yeah. So
That's amazing.
okay. Anything else, Johann?
No, I'm just glad to be here. I look forward to, assisting, the team to become better. I, have had lots of team meetings in the last month, and we've talked a lot about, I think sometimes we as an agency get in a comfortable zone to say, okay, well, we have to do this, and we have to have this, and we have to do, something else. But, we get comfortable, and I think I'm a think outside the box kind of person.
Good.
So, we've talked about some of the things that we would like to do. There's a lot of agencies out there that help people and everyone seems to do the same core services.
Right, yeah.
And I just want to offer those core services, but maybe do it a little bit differently.
Okay.
And make us stand out a little bit more and say, hey, that's something I never thought of. And I can't really even think of an example, but, like one yesterday, Maria and I were talking, and she explained, she explained, some of the struggles that she may have had growing up with, people just not allowing her to be able to come and coddling her. And, and they were doing it out of love and protection and fear that she may hurt herself, or she may not be able to do something, or someone, might come up to her and be mean to her, or whatever. And, we talked about these are the kinds of things that I think everyone can relate to. And I hope that she does more of those kinds of things brought to this podcast or another, maybe in a newsletter or wherever other outlet that we have, because I think some of the struggles that she talked about were the same challenges that other people have. And it's a very personal thing, you know what I mean? And it's like sometimes you don't want to talk about what you had to personally deal with, but sometimes sharing your personal story reaches the one person that needed to hear.
Right, exactly.
And you may help that person with how you overcame some of those feelings or, just challenges that you had.
Sure.
And again, that kind of goes in the same way. I think parents, it's been my experience, parents of children that grow up to be adults with disabilities, they are so overprotective, and they just don't want them to be hurt in any way, physically.
They
or
want to wrap them
mentally.
in bubble wrap.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's like, just like any parent has to do, you have to like, kind of let them fall out of the nest on their own a couple of times. And then they become stronger individuals when you fail. I mean, we all do, So, I mean, I think, on the note of what I would like to see, worked on here as a team to talk about those things that we can do outside of the box to make things better, to see what is really what we need is here, and do those things, and to address maybe some challenges that we have as agencies. We talked about the underserved populations. There's a lot of minorities that have disabilities.
Sure.
So we're looking at some of those communities as well to increase our services to help us to be more creative in our service delivery.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Joanne. I appreciate it. Mariya, as always, thank you. And folks, I hope everyone has a joyous Christmas and a happy New Year and Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or whatever it is you celebrate. So, happy holidays. We will see you next time.